My name is Caden Staton. I'm a student here at Lone Star College-Tomball, as well as a Campus Vote Project Democracy Fellow. And it is my job to give you everything you need to know about the upcoming midterm elections. Midterm elections are smaller elections that occur between presidential elections, but that doesn't mean they're any less important. They take place halfway through a president's 4-year term and can often serve as a reflection on the current president's status or reputation. These elections do not include the presidential race, but affect federal, state, and local offices. Also, these elections historically have a significantly lower turnout than presidential elections. I'm sure you've heard of midterm elections before, but it's not always clear who exactly is elected in these. First, all 435 seats of the House of Representatives are up for grabs in congressional elections. These representatives serve 2-year terms, and therefore new representatives must be voted in every 2 years. Also, about 1/3 of Senate seats are on the ballot here too. Senators serve 6-year terms, but their terms are staggered. Finally, many governors, state legislators, attorney generals, secretaries of state, and more are elected in these. So that's a lot of seats changing ownership in this one election, but what does that all mean? These elections are extremely important to a democratic process because they allow voters to reevaluate and respond to government performance, and reflects the public sentiment towards the current leadership. Now, how can an individual or a handful of representatives influence the way the country is run? First, the majority in both the Senate and the House of Representatives determines which party controls Congress. Following that, whichever party controls Congress has influence on which policies are passed and which policies are blocked. But these elections won't matter if no one goes out and votes in them, which sounds ridiculous, but sadly, midterms have a significantly lower turnout than presidential elections, with presidential elections consistently having about 60% of the US population and midterm elections having around 35 to 50%. This means that your one vote holds a lot more weight than it would in a typical presidential election. Adding on to that, decisions made in local and congressional elections often have a much greater impact on your day-to-day life. When was the last time the president fixed a pothole on your street or decided when your trash gets picked up? They're a bit busy with international summits and national security briefings, not whether your park has working bathrooms. Now, after hearing all that, I'm sure you're desperate to vote. But first, you need to get registered. To register, you have a couple of options. VoteTexas.gov has some amazing resources. For example, they offer an online voter registration application that can be mailed directly to your county election office. Additionally, you could contact or visit your local voter registrar, which can also be found on the same website. If you're unsure if you're registered, Texas.gov knows. Simply insert your name, date of birth, county, and they will tell you. Now that you know what you know, get out there and vote, and thank you all for listening. Lastly, if you're not registered, you can get a registration application from your local library.